crazy tennis player from the age of 10 to right now, so I've had about 50 years worth of experience. I've been a junior champ, a Canadian men's champ, a Davis Cup player, chair of the Davis Cup. So I've been involved in many, many clubs across the country, Ontario and the world. And there are just certain things that seem to work, and there are certain things that, if they're left alone, on their own, will end up hurting your membership. What we're going to do today is explain these things to you and hopefully give you a list of activities that you can use in your club, first of all, to attract members, and second of all, to retain them. Dave, do you want to talk about yourself? Come on.
Okay, I am...
He doesn't need a mic.
I'm Community Tennis Manager for the Ontario Tennis Association. That is the title. It might say Provincial Development. People want me to kind of go around the province and do things. I have been involved with the OTA for over 30 years. Sharon Arnold was the person who got me involved in the OTA first, because for 33 years I was a teacher with TDSB. Okay, you can guess later exactly what I taught, and it wasn't physical education. So Sharon got me involved in educational committees. I have gone way, way back with the OTA. I've been a teaching pro since I was 17. I started at the Denali Club under Roy Mansell. Right now, for the last 8 years, I've been in this job with Jay, Jim, and Eli have developed what we call a Club Pathways First Touch program. My responsibilities are regional chairs, executives of clubs, members of clubs in general, and all teaching pros in the province of Ontario are mine once they have been certified. And I handle all of the schools programs in the province of Ontario from JKSK through to university. So I handle the elementary component, and I handle the secondary component. And there is good news on the secondary level. OFSA is back on. It was in a hold pattern. So the secondary schools have decided that they are going to give us a base of plus 200 players. That means probably in the province over 6,000 high school students playing at in Ontario will get the chance to come up here and compete in 310 spots for OFSA. So there is the background.
As we go through this, please, it's not going to be one way. Ask questions as we go. We'll stop and try to answer them the best we can. Okay, so here we go. Step one is what we call initiate an audit of your club. SWOT analysis. Most people who are in management know what that is. Dave's going to hand out a hard copy of that. Basically, you have to ask a bunch of questions about your club once you decide that you're going to do an active plan. These questions, and we just listed a bunch of them. They aren't all the questions that need to be answered, but they'll help you out. Are there barriers to joining? Cost, court time, location, overbuilding, which means are there too many tennis courts in a small geographic area, which leads to the third point, which is more competitors. Do you have an aging membership in your club? The demographic changes or preferences. The baby boomers, we're getting older. Are we playing as much? Do people just stop playing because they physically can't play anymore? It has nothing to do with your club. You have very little control over that. Facility condition. You don't want to have a community club where when somebody comes by, everything looks broken down. They won't come in. Trust me.
Very important part is taking a look at, and on one of the sheets of paper, I think it's the first one, is club reputation. What is your reputation? How do you present in your community? How do you compete in your community? Okay, if you have an old reputation, do you need to change that reputation? Do you need to get it more marketable? So when I drive by clubs or I drop, the first thing I take a look at is access to the club. Okay, so what's the parking lot like? How many parking spaces are there? Is there easy access? What is the distance from the parking lot to the club itself? And in some situations, it's quite a walk. When I walk in, how am I greeted? Nobody knows me. Well, everybody does, but in a lot of places, some member who's there on a Sunday playing when I drop into the club probably doesn't know who I am. and I introduce myself. Hi, how are you? I'm Dave Lee. I don't say I'm with the OTA to start unless they've noticed the van. I want to know what the club looks like, what the condition of the courts are, conditions of fence, if it's nighttime lighting. I want to know how I'm greeted. Okay, am I greeted with suspicion? Am I greeted with open arms? The other thing is, when I go into the club, I want to see, okay, what's happening with the club. Is there a junior section here, an adult section? What programs are you running? And then I get an immediate idea, okay, and you all went through this when you chose a high school to go to when you were a kid, or chose a university or some type of extra post-secondary education. How comfortable did you feel when you walked in the door? Am I going to want to play here? Okay, and that can change over the years. I used to be a member of a club in the center of the city of Toronto. Last time I went and bought a membership at that club, I walked into the club one day. First question was, what are you doing here? Bye.
Okay. Dave's capsulated that for you. I think another issue, and oddly enough, I wanted to share this with you today. Last night when I went home, I had an email from one of the people from the city that's involved in the Parks and Recs amalgamation thing, and he said, do you have a policy, or have you ever heard of a policy in Toronto whereby after 3 years of membership at a club, then you're asked to leave so somebody on the waiting list can get in? Hello? That's amazing. So I emailed him back and I said, call me on Monday. I got to do this presentation. Because, I mean, I was shocked by the fact that there are clubs in the GTA that have a long waiting list, and people are making the comment to the city, well, we deserve to have a right to join. Which backs up to a conversation I had with Al McGuire this week, where he's trying to get extra courts built at Wanless Park. Well, the answer is not to kick anybody out. The answer is to build some more tennis courts. So, along those lines, the court ratio is the number of members per court. In the commercial business, in the indoor business, when we were doing that, we didn't care. We could have 5,000 members per court. We didn't really care. We just wanted the money because we were commercial. In the private club business, like at the Toronto Lawn used to artificially keep the court ratio at 50 per court. The norm these days is between 75 and 100 people per court. So if you have 4 courts, you should have 400 people. Simple. Okay? Now, and we have a thing called other. Once you've done the audit and you know where you stand and how you need to proceed in marketing, going out and trying to grow your membership, you develop a multi-year club membership attraction and retention plan with specific action steps. The plan should be at least 3 years in length and be reviewed every year for results. The challenge with clubs, community clubs, is all of a sudden they form a committee and everybody's hot to go. And the expectation is you're going to grow the membership in 1 year. It doesn't happen. You need to embed in your operation from the board level that the program you start continues for at least 3 years. I'll use an example. There's a gentleman up in Ottawa called John Wins Purdy, and his club was 300 people. Well, he did a bunch of programming with the schools, doing outreach, and he grew that membership from 300 to 800. But it took him 4 years. He didn't get immediate results. So the expectations that you create at the beginning that, oh, we're going to change it this year. I got good news and bad news. It will happen is the good news. The bad news is it takes more than 1 or 2 years. You have to keep at it, and you have to do the same things over and over again. Marketing may sound sexy, but at the end of the day, it's numbers, it's contacting people, it's being in front of your eyes. It's the same thing in real estate. If you want to sell 50 homes a year, you call 50 people a day. You talk to people. I know that it's we're all volunteers in the community sector, but that's the kind of thing you need to get the results that you want. Okay, these are what we call, Dave and I put these together, these are called professional application form available in hard copy online, distributed through the surrounding community. At Q, for instance, because that's where I'm a member, you can now download the application, print it hard copy and write a check, or you can pay online. This is the way things are going. There's software programs that are out there that will do all this management and maintenance and fees. There are fees. Certified tennis professional possible. That probably should be #1 on any list. Any club that I've ever seen that has a fantastic pro has a fantastic membership. The pro is the critical part. If your pro doesn't believe in what we call outreach, if your pro isn't organized, if your pro doesn't provide service to your members, it will hurt you in the long run. But on the attracting side, if he's outgoing and he goes to school and does
add something quick to that. On the last sheet of paper that you have there are Dana Brown from Tech or something, New Brunswick, who was part of the dairy program for Tennis Canada, and he came up with 6 C's of community clubs. It's quite an interesting thing. He doesn't have certified professionals, but he has professionals who are dedicated to putting program into the club. They don't get any bonuses for it. He teaches them the program. They then deliver that program. These pros go into the schools, but they are, like this gentleman at the back here, Mr. Miller, okay? They're absolute student-pupil magnets. I mean, if you watch Al teach, he always has this little gaggle of children behind him. And everywhere he moves at Davisville, these kids follow him. That's the type of teaching professional that you want. He doesn't have his hand out. Okay? He gives to the club because he knows it's going to come back through the club.
Okay, the one thing you need to realize, we're going to be focusing on schools and kids. I have to remember kids come with something. Do you know what it is? Parental units. Usually 2. In this day and age, it can be 1. But there's always a parent. And once the child is involved in an activity, the parents generally follow up. We used to do a program back in the day at Q. On Saturday, we had our junior development program, which Al knows about. I was helping at that time. We'd have 240 kids show up, and their parents would drive them and sit and watch. Well, what happened is I was on the board at the time. I made a suggestion. I said, why don't we take out 1 court and have the head pro, teach a free clinic for the parents and introduce them to the game and get them into the club. And it worked. Stuff like that. You don't want, you want things that bring people to your club. And once they're there, you can get them, hopefully, to join or at least to consider joining.
Or even playing outside. I mean,
yes.
My catchment area is Kew Gardens as well. I am not a member of Kew. One of the things is my parents complain about the fact that children can't get a lot of court time. Okay, so in my neighborhood, everybody who has children have a mini tennis net in the house. They have rackets and foam balls, and the courts are drawn on the street. Okay, and they yell car. Okay, and everybody is out there playing, but they close off the street and have a barbecue for the parents, and the parents are out there teaching the kids, and all of them, as Jim says, are volunteers who are educated in teaching the program. So I have no problem with knowing that these kids can do or are gaining the skills or learning the skills because they've been properly trained.
See, if you look at the outreach program through the Club Pro in partnership with the OTA, we're talking about pathways in schools. And in the AGM report, in the operations review, if you took a look at it, you'd see that in the area of schools program, Dave was responsible for introducing in 2012 34,000 participants, kids in schools. Our philosophy is if you put a racket in their hand and let them hit a ball, if you do it with enough kids, some of them are going to end up at a club. So what we've spent a lot of time and money on is doing that throughout the province. What we need is the link, more of the links with the community clubs to get you people to have a volunteer go and work with Dave and hand out information about your club. Now Pathways had 48,000. So you're looking at, what, almost 100,000 kids a year that we've put a racket and a ball in their hands in the elementary school system. And this is what will really help your club. Another idea is host an annual open house in the surrounding community and partner with a local charity. Do a fundraiser, just have an open house day where anybody in the community can come and use the club. Have a barbecue, whatever you need to do. Get in front of them, shake their hand, ask them if they'd like to join, and you may find that you'll recruit a lot of people.
Two things on the teachers is, one, teach the teachers to teach the program.
Right.
That's our main emphasis. And then we will help you with class, that type of thing. But what we want you to do, even if you change schools, okay, take that, what you've learned, and transfer that to another school, or a friend at a conference, or do that type of thing. The other thing on open house, Jim touched on the fact, Al McGuire has asked about waiting lists in the city of Toronto. I know where this is coming from because I spoke to the gentleman who was doing this as well, is to engage the people that are on your waiting list. Keep them as part of your waiting list. Hold a tournament, invite them over, give them a time where they can come and play at the club, though they don't have full ability to be a member, but you keep them on the list and keep them engaged.
Offer potential members a host of extra benefits for joining. Our club card, what we've encouraged clubs to do is put that logo, put this, we'll give you the JPEG, put it on your membership form. Put it on your website. And then the people can directly link to our site and take advantage of the benefits. It's for you to use. The club card is all about us providing benefits to the clubs to allow you to attract more members for their membership fee. If I can join and I can get all these discounts, the program is new, it's only a year old, but we're at work, working it and trying to add more and more benefits, even on a regional basis. So for instance, if you're a club that isn't in the GTA, you're out of the GTA, call the marketing department and say, look, I know a local restaurant that wants to give a discount. We'll put it on the club card. We can do anything because it's web-based. Again, keep the facility clean and in good condition. It just reminds me of the real estate business. I used to say to people, paint your front door. What do you mean paint the front door? Well, I sold my house 2 years ago. I painted the whole house. I just hired a painter and they painted everything. I thought they were going to paint my cats to the wall. They painted the entire house, the front door, because the first impression is a lasting impression. And if you want people to come in and visit your club, you better make it look nice, have flowers on the outside, make sure that there's not, tennis balls and rackets all over the place or banners half hanging on the screens. Design and maintain a club website, online payment. We've talked about that. Utilize, find an OTA club on tennisontario.com. If I was confident we could get online, I'd show it to you. But everybody in this room has the ability to post information about their club on our website. If you'll see it. It's right on the front of the index page. Find an OTA club. You hit it. Gives you a map of Ontario with the regions. You hit the regions. It'll give you the Southwest region, Tennis Toronto. It'll give you Ottawa. You hit it again, and then a list of your clubs. And if you post your website, they can hit your website. So that's our help to help people in your community, or maybe somebody that's in Vancouver that's moving to Ottawa or Toronto. They can take a look and they can find a club. But the part that you have to do is take advantage of it. Go to the site and update your information. It gives a membership profile. It talks about your courts, and if you want to put, it has a free, what's it called, a free space where you can put, what programming you offer, any specials, anything you want. Initiate sponsor a friend program. This is something that a lot of sports do. Just get your club members to help sell your club. Just have a day where somebody can bring a friend for free, no guest fees, and you have, you know, it's a sponsor a friend program. They come and they get a round robin or a little tournament with your friend, and they don't have to pay a dime. And at the end of the day, you can get lucky, and they may end up joining.
You have, you think as a member of an executive that you and your executive are doing the marketing and sales job, you have a sales force, take the sales force as your membership. And
Yep.
the sales force is your adult membership and your junior membership. I had a great time on the weekend. Okay, I did 300 keep-ups on the ball. This is a 5 or 6 year old. The next little child beside them said,
Yep.
I want to do that. There we go.
There are a number of
For selling your program.
Right. There are a number of clubs in Ontario that run sanctioned tournaments, because they know by running a sanctioned tournament, parents come with the kids, and the club is busy. The snack bar gets busy. The club gets busy. The club gets visibility. Some of these people may end up joining. A lot of our commercial clubs, such as Ace out in Burlington, they run it for the financial gain. LaMarche at Ace, he probably runs about $65,000 worth of tournaments a year. But he's running them every weekend, and the place is mobbed. His game is he wants the best juniors in his club so that his academy can recruit them. But you can do the same thing at your club. You're not looking at recruiting juniors, you're looking at recruiting members. Members and juniors, adults. Let me go here. And this is, now we're on to, I think we're on to retention. Yes. Now, the old saying that it's a lot easier to keep a member than to go find a new one. Okay? You have to try as hard as you can to make sure you don't lose members. Establish, and in my mind, establishing a strong governance structure for the club with active committees to serve the club membership, build a significant number of volunteers who focus on service. In other words, a social committee, a membership committee, a junior committee. If those committees are organized and you have good volunteers running them, more than likely people aren't going to leave. They'll stay. Provide an enjoyable environment within the club that fosters sportsmanship and exercise, a healthy lifestyle. Provide programs that address the needs of the adults, juniors, seniors, and social members. What I've seen happen in clubs is junior programs vanish. And when the junior programs vanish, I can tell you in 5 or 6 years that club is going to vanish. It happens almost every time. A club that doesn't have an active junior program is in trouble. Create a database of all member profiles. Follow up with people who have not rejoined using standard contact recruiting tools and scripts. There's tons of them out there. You can Google them. I was Googling stuff actually for this to see how much was out there. And there's not a lot. One of the best resources is a Rotary Club. Those guys are great recruiters. They have a plan to get people into the Rotary. They have guest days. They have recruit somebody to join the Rotary. But they were the most active in this kind of thing of recruitment.
And they're great filmmakers. Rotary and ask for small amounts of money for juniors, progressive equipment, or to run a barbecue and tournament, and they can never been turned away by Rotary at all.
Right. Organize program, utilize programs offered by the OTA and Tennis Canada. I have 2 of them up there. This is Little Aces, and Pathways is ours. But Little Aces is a program that has been offered by Tennis Canada through us. It's now offered in Mississauga, North York, and Scarborough, and next year it will be in Ottawa. And Tennis Canada is investing $50,000 a year in it's the progressive tennis, the small tennis with the little balls. It's all focused on kids in schools. And what this program does, it creates new leagues within the community in the winter on the basketball courts in schools. So basically, if a community club really was aggressive, they would have volunteers helping to organize that with Tennis Canada. And Tennis Canada provides what is it, Dave? About $1,000 per club for equipment.
Yeah. The interesting thing about progressive tennis, if you haven't done that much with it, very, very quickly, red court is the size of the smallest court that we use in Canada. There is a blue court in Europe, which is even smaller. Red court equates to the size of a badminton court. How many badminton courts do you have at your local schools? Okay, what is the size of the gym? Can it be cut into four? If it can, there are four courts. Don't worry about nets, worry about benches. That's fast and gets kids involved very, very quickly, easy for the teacher to handle. What other facilities? One of the people on Thursday night when we were doing the Start a Little Laces, and I was in a church last week looking at a Kingsway Lantern, looking at our art gallery art show, and the first thing I did was look at my feet and check how many badminton courts they have. So I knew, because there's only one club and they don't have a big junior membership, here's an opportunity for them to go indoors in the winter. Same thing with the Catholic Church that was right near it. So you're constantly looking for things that you can do. We have done, Eli and I have done programs in malls, libraries, school cafeterias, school hallways. We can put a progressive net anywhere and teach kids how to do that and get the. We've even put desks around a singular classroom and put in a 10-foot net for 2 weeks to do a unit just within the classroom. So there's lots of different variables to think about, and lots of different things that you can apply within your community. You've got to take a look and assess about what you do have as facilities.
And on top of that, what Eli does is he goes to huge festivals that are held throughout the province. If you happen to have one in your area, you know, where there's just a couple of 100,000 people, we will set up a display. I know we've been up to Ottawa for the Ottawa Festival. Where's the other? Dave? Dave, where's the festival out in the one out in the West End that Eli does? Mississauga. Sorry, I forgot you were here. Tell us.
Mississauga Waterfront Festival, Ottawa Super X, Duncan Dundas Square.
Vaughan Canada Day. Those events draw anywhere. Like Mississauga is one of the bigger ones. It has almost 25,000 people a day that come to that festival. Kids, families. So it's really great exposure just to get rackets in kids' hands and pass them out a flyer for the volunteers that come from the clubs that help out. They're able to pass out flyers for their summer programs. Definitely, you want to try to get your summer camp in our summer camp guide that's put out in the summer edition of the OT Mag, and because those are always given out at all the large-scale events too.
Right. Thanks, Eli.
Doing a quick thinking process, these two lovely ladies sitting in front of me, we're just talking about the Binder Twine Festival in Kleinburg.
There you go.
And you know how they could get Eli there to do the Pathways program for that festival if he's available.
These are the kinds of things we're looking for, and that's why we're doing this seminar. We've got a lot of clubs here today, so contact these two guys and try to get them out to your events. Another, access information on on successful club operations from the club manual. Unfortunately, Scott couldn't get it to work today. You know, he's a volunteer. He's almost like a staff person. He does so much work. He's been working on that manual for about 4 weeks, and he has put it all on Google Docs, and you will easily, if you can get on there and register, you can see everything. Best practices. Hold a survey for members, either online or at the club AGM. I know Q did a, yes?
So I just had a question. What would you consider to be a normal turnover rate for a community club?
You know, that's a great question.
It's a great question because of the demographics in the club itself and
Yeah.
the area that you're in. And in Stratford, you probably wouldn't have a lot of a turnover every year. Am I correct, or am I incorrect on that one?
Well, I just started at Stratford last year. I was very surprised
Yeah.
at the turnover rate that we had.
So your turnover rate is high.
It was about, I'm going to say it's about 20%.
Is your population, the people joining your club, are they?
Our membership's actually been growing.
Yeah, are they people who live in the neighborhood, or are they people in that do seasonal work as well?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
See, I think that's why you have to do number 3.